An Introduction to the Devout Life by St. Francis de Sales. Book 3, Chapter 4, on External Humility. "Borrow empty vessels, not a few," said Elisha to the poor widow, "and pour oil into them. And before we can receive the grace of God into our hearts, they must be thoroughly empty of all self-glory." The kestrel, they say, has the peculiar property of frightening away birds of prey with its looks and cries, for which reason they say the dove seeks it beyond all other birds, and lives fearlessly in its neighborhood. And so humility repulses Satan, and preserves in us the gifts and graces of the Holy Spirit. For this reason, all the saints, and especially the King of Saints and his mother, ever honored and cherished this virtue above all others. We call vainglory that which we seek for ourselves, either for that which is not in us, or, being in us, is not our own, or, being in us and our own, is not worthy to glory in. Noble birth, the favor of the great, popular esteem, these are not in ourselves. They come either from our forefathers or from others' opinion. Some are proud and conceited because they have a fine horse, a plume in their hat, or are magnificently attired. But who cannot perceive the absurdity of this? Since, if anyone has reason to be proud, it surely is the horse, the ostrich, or the tailor. And how very contemptible it is to rest our hope of esteem in a horse, a feather, or a garment. Another thinks of his well-trimmed beard and mustachios, or his well-curled hair, his delicate hands, or of his accomplishment in dancing, music, and so on. But is it not very contemptible to think to enhance one's worth or reputation in such foolish and frivolous things? Others, who have acquired a little knowledge, demand the respect and honor of the world on that account, as if all must needs come to learn of them and bow before them. Such men we call pedants. Others pride themselves on their personal beauty and think that everyone is admiring them. All of them, in their turn, are utterly silly, foolish, and impertinent, and their glory in such empty things we call vain, absurd, and frivolous. You may judge of real worth as of real balm, which is tried in water, and if the balm sinks and remains at the bottom, it is known to be precious and costly. And so, in order to know whether a man is really wise, learned, generous, and noble, observe whether his gifts make him humble, modest, and submissive. If so, they are genuine. But if they float to the surface and would fain display themselves, be sure that in proportion as they make a show, so are they less worthy. Those pearls which, they say, are conceived or fed in the wind and thunder leave only a pearly shell without any substance. And so those virtues and attractive qualities which have their root and support in pride, self-sufficiency, and vanity have but an outward show of excellence, and are without sap or marrow or solidity. Honor, rank, and dignity are like saffron, which, they say, flourishes and increases the most when it is trodden underfoot. All the value of beauty is gone when its possessor is self-conscious. To be pleasing, beauty should be forgotten. And knowledge becomes contemptible when it is puffed up and degenerates into pedantry. If we are punctilious about rank and title and precedence, we both lay our own claims open to investigation and contradiction, and render them vile and despicable. For that honor which is precious when willingly offered becomes contemptible when it is sought after and demanded or exacted. When the peacock displays his gorgeous plumes, he also can see all his deformities. And those flowers which are beautiful in their native soil soon wither if we handle them. And as they who inhale the mandrake from far off, and for a brief space find it very delicious, but, they say, those who inhale it closely and for a long time become drowsy and ill, so worldly honors seem acceptable to him who receives them indifferently, without resting in them or seeking them eagerly. But they become very dangerous and hurtful to him who clings to and takes delight in them. The desire and pursuit of virtue tends to render us virtuous, but the desire and pursuit of honors tends to make us odious and despicable. A really great mind will not waste itself on such empty goods as rank, honor, and form. It has higher pursuits, and leaves these lower ones for the weak and vain. He who can procure pearls will not be satisfied with their shells, and those who aim at virtue do not trouble themselves about honors. Of course, every man may enter into and remain in his own sphere without lack of humility, so long as he does do it with indifference and without effort. Just as vessels coming from Peru, laden with gold and silver, will bring also a number of monkeys and parrots, which cost nothing, and add but little to their freight, so those who aspire to be virtuous may well accept their rightful rank and honors, but always without bestowing much care or thought on them, and without being involved in cares, vexations, disputes, and anxieties in consequence. I am not alluding here to those invested with public dignities, nor to special and important occasions in which everyone is bound to maintain a fitting dignity with prudence and discretion, combined with charity and courtesy. End of Chapter 4 of Book 3.